this video, we are going to be going over our ER and IR verb endings. Something that I want you to know is that ER, IR verbs, they have the same verb endings except for in one form, which is going to be nosotros. That's when it does get different. So I'm just going to circle nosotros here so we remember to pay attention to that. And let's get into it. We're going to give an example verb. So in this case, let's let our example verb be leer, which is to read. And it's short and easy for me to write digitally. Haha. Okay, so it's our ER verb. Now, I have the yo form, which is just like AR verbs. It's an O. So I take off the ER. Where'd my verb go? I erased it. So leer. Ignore my crappy handwriting. That's okay. All right, so I take off I need my eraser. I take off the ER on leer, and what do I add? I add N-O, right? Leo. Look how easy that is. All right, how about the U form? Now, instead of an AS like in AR verbs, it's an ES. So, leer, I take off the ER, I'm left with le, and then I add an ES. That E got a little wild on me. All right, ES, lees, you read, right? Okay, how about the he or she form? So I take off the ER of leer, and in this case, let's say he reads, right? So I just add an E, lee, he reads. All right, now let's look at nosotros or nosotras. So we have an hemos or an emos ending, and this might get a little bit confusing. So let's look at leer again. So we have leer. Let's also look at the verb discutir. Discutir. That's an IR verb because it ends in IR, yeah? Okay, so let's just start with how we normally do. And we take off our ER, right? We also are going to take off our IR. We're going to conjugate two verbs at the same time. Double time here. Now, leer is an ER verb. So to say we read, we add the hemos ending, right? Because it's an ER verb. Now, discutir for we discuss, that's an IR verb. And so we're going to use the emos ending instead and say discutimos, right? So if it's an ER verb and you're putting it into the nosotros form, you use the hemos. If it's an IR verb and you're putting it into the nosotros form, you use the emos. Okay, last one, we have an EN ending for our verb. So we have leer, we take off the ER, we have discutir, we take off the IR. And so the wonderful thing about ER and IR verbs is that the endings are the same unless it's nosotros. So they read leen, they discuss discuten, right? The endings are the same for ER, IR in any form but nosotros or nosotras. And that's why this is special. All right, I'm going to let you guys practice and I'll see you in the next video. Remember your rule about nosotros or nosotras being different for ER and IR verbs. And that's really the only thing that's super important to remember. Everything else is pretty easy, right? I'll see you in the next video. Adios.